from our engineer in the actual costing. It also should be noted that this is completely funded by existing reserve balances as well as debenture financing to be paid from fuel tax revenue and not increases in taxes. And I think when citizens do see this and hear about it, there is the common thought that taxes need to go up for paying for that, and that is not in the plans for our causeway. And so I think that's very important to highlight. It's not in the report, but those plans we've tasked administration with, and we've done a good job of preparing ourselves for this expenditure. So, you know, I will support the recommendation, but I think I just wanted to make it very clear in terms of the financing of this project that we have planned for it, we're ready for it, and it doesn't necessarily mean that changes are going to be seen in the taxation of citizens in the future.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Budds. Other questions or comments? Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to obviously recognize that we know that this is a major project. It's something that I think every one of us in and around the table doesn't take the decision to do this and invest in it lightly. I was, for one, long before I maybe decided to run for City Council, where I was at the 2015 open house, supported the project back then. Thought it was one of the best things from a 20,000-foot perspective for the betterment of Portage la Prairie, of course, not only today, but in the next 10, 20, 30 years. So I did want to take a moment, certainly recognize previous council for being able to have the courage and determination to get this project on the ground. I felt it was very, very transparent to the public, and I felt that it was really presented in a proper way, that everybody had their right and opinion in order to put that forward. Also, during the election campaign, I did run on supporting the project, and I continue to support it today. And for that reason alone, I want to recognize as well that I've had a number of conversations with many people in and around Portage that have supported the project and had asked me to support it. I've also had a number of conversations with some individuals that did not support the project. I certainly want to recognize those individuals. I certainly want to appreciate that they had the courage to be able to have those conversations with myself. I respect their decisions, and I respect their opinions as well. But at this point in time, I certainly, as with Councillor Budds, I certainly will be supporting this motion to move this forward, and I think it's time to get a shovel on the ground. Thank you, Your Worship. Okay.
Thank you, Councillor Meyer. Councillor Draycott.
Thank you, Your Worship. Two questions for administration. We are at a special council meeting today, which would mean that this is time sensitive so that we can get shovels in the ground to get this project going. So first question would be, when can we anticipate as citizens of Portage la Prairie to see some movement on the project? And second question, administration's plan for some education as to changes in how people get around Portage while the project is ongoing.
Okay, I'll turn those questions over to Mr. Ditto.
Through your worship to Councillor Draycott, I'll address the communication question first. Part of our contract with AECOM provides communication plans put forward and communication efforts be put forward to the general public. There will be substantial traffic disruption during the period. The goal, of course, is to minimize that as much as possible, but it is a large project. So Council, AECOM and administration, we're working together to put together a communication plan to make sure the citizens of Portage la Prairie understand any potential traffic disruptions. In regards to the timeline, I'm going to refer that to our Director of Operations, Mr. Braden.
I'd just like to add that at no time is access to the island going to be restricted, other than maybe for a very short period of time during construction. So we'll have a temporary causeway there for access to the island at all times. As far as the schedule, we don't have a schedule from a contractor. If this is awarded today, we don't have the schedule yet. That'll be received from the contractor in the early days, I guess, hopefully next week. I would anticipate they're going to need some time to mobilize. We're probably looking 2-3 weeks away before we see any action on site. But again, I don't have anything concrete from the contractor at this time.
Thank you.
Okay. Other questions or comments from council? Okay, we've got the resolution, we've got mover, seconder. All those in favor of the motion? And that's carried. And that was the only piece of business on the agenda for today. So this special meeting of council is adjourned at 12:10 p.m.